So with the events that happened, this last week and the week before, you need to understand how and what I've said before to you about individuals who are seeking to disarm the public. And it's happening right now in front of you, okay? The people that you elected, these individuals never had your good in store. They never wanted you to be able to protect yourself. And you need to understand what I meant when I said that there's an infection within your party, okay? If you look throughout any piece of history, you can see what communists actually did to the public first before they could take over and rule and actually subjugate them. First, they had to disarm the public. That's the main goal. And you yourself, you might still be thinking, well, these certain guns, we shouldn't have these. Oh, these are military grade. I still don't understand military grade. These ones shouldn't be done. These ones are black. These ones are scary, so we need to take those away. And you shouldn't be able to carry out here. Now, mind you, if you think about any of the situations that happen, and you think about all the laws that are out there, if you have not looked at what Colorado laws actually are, and you see that the individuals who are the perpetrators never abide by the laws, but the people who are the average citizens do, you see who the victims are. Not the individual who's a perpetrator. The average citizen is the victim. That's what happens, okay? So all the people out there that say, oh, no, these laws and the gun-free zones and those types of places, they are much safer. Of course, that's where you have school shootings, you have mass shootings and the like, right? So you disarm the people who actually obey the law, and the people who don't obey the law, they don't abide by any gun ban. They're not. They get their gun however they're going to get it, whether lawfully or illegally. So that's what happens. So what you basically do is you make entire groups of people targets in mass numbers because you've eliminated people's ability to protect themselves in situations. So what does that look like for you and me as these individuals who call themselves Democrats turn out to be communists? Well, what ends up happening is you see the systematic chipping away at the rights of individuals, the free rights. So right now you have your First Amendment, which was chipped away by what? COVID, okay? So those are people that were, there are people within the government that, like here in California, churches couldn't meet, but you could go for a BLM rally. So at one you can go to, at the other you could, like the same exact thing, where there's all these mass mandates for the American public, but at the same time, they let illegal immigrants into the country without ever having a COVID test. They also are massing them inside of these detention facilities, the kids in cages and carts. That's okay, and they're massed together. But the American public, you can only be in certain percentages, within like the movie theaters or with your own families, and you must wear a mask. That's not what happens for people who come to the country. It's only for the people who live here. So the American citizen is the one that has the big regulations. People who are not American citizens do not. So that's why the laws don't make any sense. Okay, so that's what's happening. Now, the next thing that happens is if you go through any communist country, what happens is they try and they succeed in removing the public's ability to protect themselves, not just against enemies that are foreign, but enemies that are domestic. And the dumb idea that people have, well, it's, you're going to go against the American government. Well, the ability for the people to actually fight for themselves is what they need to do. They need to eliminate that to make you and me individuals who are and do not have a way to protect ourselves. We rely on individuals to come to our rescue and our aid. Well, at the same time they do that, they also talk about defunding the police. So in any way, shape, or form that they can, they remove not only the people's ability to protect themselves on their own, but then they also remove the people's ability to protect themselves by calling authorities. So there's a double-edged sword there that goes against the public. Now, as you see these things happen, as all these things take place right in front of your face, you still might be adhesing yourself to these ideas that are, well, we just need to send social workers. We just need to help and aid and give more aid to people who just, they're just upset and have mental issues. Well, you don't say that when it goes to Black people within the inner city. You just let that happen. See, Black people have always been expendable. That's just the thing, okay? So inner city, Black folks who do mass murders all the time, whether it be drive-bys, killings at parties, those type of things. It happens all the time, okay? You go to any one of these inner cities, it happens all the time, and no one bats an eye. Why? Because Black people have been on the receiving end of the experiment for communism. That is always the goal. That has always been what, you know, some of you folks who are virtue signalers and who are democratic socialists, you've always used Black people to your advantage to get what you want by just getting our vote. Okay, so here's where you come in. You have to recognize what's really taking place, and you have to be able to own it and see it. If you don't want to see it, then you will just be blinded. And as these things happen, you will make us, the average person, you'll make us more easily accessible to become victims by people who have evil intent. Now, there will be a point in time where you see the truth of what we've been saying, when in fact it does happen where the public is disarmed. And when that happens, there won't be a communication. There won't be a First Amendment. There won't be a Second Amendment. There won't be an amendment, period. It'll be an ancient document that will be revised to include only individuals who have power, and they will have their own guards. They will have their own abilities to protect themselves. And all these nations that have the gun bans, just look to see like which nations actually are the most dangerous. It's usually the ones that have the gun bans, okay? It is what it is. So I'm saying this to you because I want you to understand what's happening to you. The other societies out there that were not built the way the United States is built, those places have their own laws. Those places are basically governed differently. What these people are trying to do here is they're not trying to make us like Europe, not trying to make us like, you know, different Asian nations. They're trying to make us into something that we were never meant to be, which is a socialist communist nation ruled by Marxism to keep our mouths shut. So I'm asking you this I'm just telling you this and asking you this. Please open your eyes up to see the truth. Please open your eyes up. Quit just trying to virtue signal, tell everybody that we're wrong. Just ask the question, what if this is what's happening right now? What if the people who we elected, and I said a long time ago, you have an infection within your party. The infection is communism. These people are moving at a rapid rate to remove you and your ability to actually vote, but also they're removing you and your ability to in your freedoms right now. That's happening right now in front of your face. Hopefully you see it. If you don't see it, well, it'll just be a matter of time before you become a victim of it. And then when you become a victim of it, you'll do the same thing that other people do. They blame the gun. Of course, the gun's not to blame. When it's an officer shooting somebody, it's then the officer. So there's a contradiction in not only terms, but subjective meaning. And so in one place, it's the gun's fault. Other place, it's the officer's fault. So, you know, you get to make up your mind about what it is that you believe. And hopefully you come to the logical conclusion, a rational conclusion, that all the things that you might be speaking about in terms of what safety is, in terms of what right and wrong are, you'll see that there actually needs to be a litmus test. There needs to be a fine line that's the same for everybody, instead of these conservative Republicans over here need to be shut up and all the Democrats over here are okay to speak. But then if you're a Democrat, you better speak the same way we in the party who are holding the line, the way that we speak, because we are the ones that rule you, okay? Fear, don't want to have fear. Truth, we need truth. Take care.